and vehicle conditions can change the operation of TSS, and we know drivers are responsible for their own safety. But as in all of our training, when a customer has a question, we'd like them to see the owner's manual for additional details. So the three most common areas of accident protection, one is preventing or mitigating front-end collisions. The second one, keeping drivers within their lane. And the enhancement on TSS 2.0, enhancing road safety during nighttime driving. So we'll do a quick overview of TSSP. So we all know we have TSSP and the features below. If you look at pre-collision, the pre-collision system basically is designed to mitigate or avoid a front-end collision. We have lane departure alert, or LDA. And basically, LDA is basically designed to detect lane departures when traveling basically on straight roads. Automatic high beams, which is a great feature designed to help the driver have better visibility while driving nighttime. Lane departure alert with steering assist basically is designed to detect lane departures when traveling, again, on straight roads. And then we have DRCC, dynamic radar cruise control, or on certain models, full speed range, dynamic radar cruise control. So, pre-collision system. Basically, the pre-collision system, or PCS, uses camera and millimeter wave radar. If you look at preceding vehicle detection, alerts and autonomous emergency braking will happen at approximately between 7 and 110 miles an hour, with speed reduction capabilities of approximately 25 miles an hour. Preceding pedestrian detection, alerts and autonomous emergency braking approximately between 7 miles per hour and 50 miles per hour, with a speed reduction capability of approximately 19 miles per hour. Lane departure alert with steering assist. LDA uses the in-vehicle camera, as you can see displayed in the illustrations to your right, to detect yellow and white lane markings. LDA is designed to operate at speeds at approximately 32 miles per hour or higher. In addition to audio and visual alerts inside the vehicle, when the vehicle is starting to deviate from its lane, you'll feel small corrective steering input in the steering wheel. Dynamic radar cruise control. DRCC utilizes millimeter wave radar and camera to detect preceding vehicle and maintain preset distance when preceding the vehicle is traveling at slower than the set speed. Dynamic radar cruise control is designed to function at speeds approximately 25 miles an hour all the way to 110 miles an hour. Full speed range, DRCC is designed to function at speeds approximately 0 to 110 miles an hour, and that's the difference between standard DRCC and full speed range. Speed must be above approximately 28 mph to initiate either DRCC system. So the upgrade, which we launched a few years ago, TSS 2.0. Of course, you see all the features that I just spoke about in TSS. And now that you see highlighted in red, we added lane tracing assist and road sign assist. So again, pre-collision system. These are the enhancements to pre-collision. So we had 2 additional features with TSS 2.0, and these are the enhancements. Between those 2 additions and these enhancements, this makes TSS the most robust safety suite of products in the volume automotive industry. The enhancements include low light pedestrian detection and daytime cyclist detection, greater speed reduction capability. So preceding vehicle detection, speed reduction capability of approximately 32 miles per hour. Preceding pedestrian detection, speed reduction capabilities of approximately 25 miles per hour. Lane departure alert with steering assist. In addition to yellow and white lane markers, TSS 2.0 is capable of road edge detection and curb detection. And these will happen in certain conditions. So if you're on whatever the road surface is, let's say it's cement or it's asphalt, if the vehicle veers off to the right where there's no lines, whether it's dirt, grass, gravel, it will detect and move you back into the lane. So lane tracing assist. Lane tracing assist, and again, must have full speed range dynamic radar cruise control, uses camera and millimeter wave radar, and lane markers and preceding vehicle. Full speed dynamic radar cruise control must be enabled to set lane tracing assist to work. And this is basically the last feature in 2.0, TSS 2.0, and it's my favorite, road sign assist. And it's my favorite for several reasons, because we road warriors, when we're on the road, we utilize these technologies a lot. But road sign assist uses the camera to detect and display certain road signs. These road signs are speed limit signs, stop signs, do not enter signs, and yield signs. And so I can tell you from experience, that is literally my favorite feature, because we are on the road a lot, and the speed limit sign is usually the one that I utilize the most. So I'm going to turn this over to basically with just a quick overview of TSSP and 2.0. I'm going to turn this over to our non-resident, our Texas resident expert on all things Toyota safety, Mr. Tom Kretschmann.
All right. Well, thanks, Steve. So if you've been with Toyota for any length of time, you're familiar with TSS, you're familiar with these systems, you're also familiar with the fact that Toyota builds some of the best body-on-frame trucks and SUVs on the market. And in the Pacific Northwest, we all know what everybody immediately does. Well, not everybody, but most people immediately do with these vehicles. And they go out and they get the bigger tires, the off-road equipment, and they take these things up in the mountains and have fun with them as they are intended to. As we incorporated the TSS systems on these vehicles, we have encountered a common complaint from customers, which is, wait a minute, if I modify my truck, how does that affect my TSS system? And in this picture, I don't know, you can't really see it, but that Tundra there with the headlights on, right below that, that's a TRD Pro, and right below the Toyota script on the grill, of course, that's the window for the millimeter wave radar sensor. And the thing to keep in mind with these vehicles is that if you modify them, you're also modifying some of these systems that are in place in terms of their position relative to the road and everything. And as such, it can affect the performance. So I want to bring to light a couple service bulletins that have been created, you know, the voice of the customer. This first one, this has been out since September 11th of 2018. It's TSB 0059-18. And this TSB addresses 2016 to 2018 Land Cruiser and 2018 Sequoia, Tacoma, and Tundra. So up to 18, okay? Not the newer stuff. We have a different TSB for newer things. But these particular model years, there is a TSB. So if you have one come in on trade, something like that, this TSB allows you to change the logic within the TSS system. So what we mean by that is, currently, if you get into these vehicles, you can go into the MID, you can select to turn the pre-collision system off. The problem, or customers assume this is a problem, but the issue the customers complained about was, you mean I have to change this every time? So this really boils down to a situation as described in the TSB, that vehicles that were used extensively off-road or tire chains in adverse conditions, towing other vehicles or while the vehicle was being towed, the customer wanted the ability to turn the system off and leave it off even if the key was cycled. Currently, the current logic on TSS vehicles is you can turn it off, but if you shut the vehicle off and start it up again, the pre-collision system comes back on. So this TSB on a couple of the models that we have for a couple model years, or at least one model year on Sequoia, Tundra, and Tacoma, allows you to switch it and it stays in that state on a key cycle. Now keep in mind, if the customer turns the pre-collision system off, there's a warning light in the dash. It's an amber warning light letting them know the pre-collision system has been switched off. With this TSB, that warning light, if you switch it off, it will stay illuminated as long as that system has been disabled until they go in and turn it back on. So that's the first one. But more importantly, and the bigger one that I want to bring to light that most people may not be aware of because it came out right before everybody went on quarantine, is this next one, and that is TSB 0026-20. And the title of this TSB is PCS and DRCC Permanent Disabling. So again, listening to the voice of the customer, we know folks that buy these body-on-frame vehicles, a lot of them are lifted. So this TSB addresses 2020 model year and 21 model year 4Runner, as well as 2018 model year through 2021 model year Sequoia, Tacoma, Tundra. Land Cruiser is not part of this TSB. However, what this TSB effectively does is it gives the technicians the instructions on how to disable the system permanently. Now, why would we want to do this? Well, it really boils down to this. If a vehicle is modified, if it's lifted, and in fact, this is how it reads in the TSB, vehicles that have been modified with ride height or oversized wheels, tires, bush bars, etc., those vehicles can potentially disrupt the functionality of the pre-collision system. In essence, what they're saying is when you raise a vehicle up, there's no way to recalibrate the front sensor. The front sensor's calibrated factory at a predetermined ride height. If you raise the vehicle up, it doesn't read what's going on ahead of it properly. So the safest thing to do if the customer wants that truck lifted more than they want this pre-collision system is to go ahead and disable it. The customer is required to sign a waiver, and that information is going to be permanently put into their owner's manual stating that this is disabled. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, if the truck is returned to standard, in other words, they take the big wheels and tires off, they put the regular suspension back together, it can be put back and it can be made to work again, but what you have to do is you have to replace the front sensor and recalibrate the car again. So there's the cost involved. But to keep in mind, this permanent disabling allows these trucks to be lifted and these systems turned off. And I know there are customers, I've heard from the dealers in Portland region that there are customers out there that want to lift their truck and they don't they prefer having the truck lifted over having the pre-collision system on board and leaving it stock. So if there are customers that you have that are there, we have this TSB in regards to voice of the customer that allows you to disable it. And this is new. This TSB, this came out March 18th. So it's really new, and I figured it was important for everyone to be aware of this because I know how popular the modified trucks sitting on the point at the dealership is to bring folks in to look at them. So with that, I think we might want to open it up to see if there's any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And I actually have a couple questions. I did want to mention that in the chat section, please feel free to start asking any questions you may have over the presentation so far. I have a quick question, Tom. What, in terms of TSS moving forward, You know, I know you can't say a lot, but you know more than a lot of us do. What are we seeing in the future? Are we going to see a different version of TSS moving forward?
Well, initially, what you're going to see are enhancements to the systems. You went from TSSP, the speed ranges were enhanced. The way it detects, you know, some nighttime abilities were improved and so forth. So as we move forward into these next step generations, you're going to see additional enhancements to the feature set that you're familiar with. At the same time, Toyota, like the rest of the industry, is working on what are known as autonomous systems that, although throughout the industry these systems are in their infancy, we are working to bring systems like this to market. And as time goes on, when you look 2, 3, 4 years out, you're going to start seeing almost like a blending of the TSS type systems that we're familiar with being blended more and more with systems you would consider as autonomous systems.
No, I appreciate.
Thanks, Tom and Steve. We also have another question from Austin down at Teton asking, is it required to disable the systems to lift the trucks?
Okay, that's a really, really good question. So the TSB, let me pull it up here. The short answer is more than likely yes. It depends on how heavily modified the truck is. Keep in mind that the TRD Pro trucks have a small lift on them, but they also have the sensor mounted slightly different, if I recall. So the bottom line is, if you begin to modify these what can happen, and what people have reported happening, is you have some folks, depending on how the vehicle is modified, that have had little or no effect. They don't seem to have any falses. That's the thing we're concerned about, is that the system thinks there's an object in front of it and reacts to it when there was nothing there. And so when you modify these trucks, or if the customer decides to modify their truck, it's important to understand that as soon as you begin lifting it, you've now set that sensor out of calibration, and it's not likely going to perform as it was intended from the factory. And that's where we want them to be aware. It's probably safer for them to have that system disabled if they insist on having the truck lifted. So yes, it's important to read the details in the TSB. I can pull it up here. I want to check if I'm trying to remember if it said if there was a ride height. I don't think it did. It just has the disabling. Yeah, it's the qualification in the TSB says, does the vehicle have modifications that may potentially disrupt pre-collision system and dynamic radar cruise control? Yes or no. If yes, have the customer sign the waiver and then proceed with the process. So yes, if you modify the truck and lift it. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We also have another question from Mike asking, what about vehicles that have already been modified? And I want to go ahead and assume that he meant, does this TSB, account for those vehicles?
Okay, so the disabled TSB only applies, let me go back up to the applicable vehicles. And 21 4Runner, and 18 through 21 Sequoia, Tundra, and Tacoma. So yes, it can apply to vehicles that have already been modified. Keep in mind, some of these vehicles don't have pre-collision on them. So of course, like 4Runner was one of the last vehicles we fitted a TSS system to. So those older 4Runners that don't have pre-collision systems on it, it's irrelevant. So yes, that's something else to keep in mind. If you take a vehicle in on trade, customer may have bought it, may have had the pre-collision system on it. They may have modified the truck, now they're trading it in, whatever. This is something you need to be aware of, that if you turn around and sell it modified with the pre-collision system on board, it's best to notify that customer of this, potential that it can false, and but there you also have the ability to disable it. Now, I do not know what the pricing is to disable right now. I haven't looked that up.
Thank you, Tom. Did want to ask a question here. Will Toyota expand TSS technology on future models?
Yes. Keep in mind that we have currently 3 collaboration vehicles in the lineup. The Yaris is a collaboration with Mazda. The 86 is a collaboration with Subaru. And of course, the Supra is a collaboration with BMW. Those vehicles, because of the collaboration, have incorporated the other manufacturers' dynamic safety systems. So those vehicles are kind of their own subset. But as far as Toyota vehicles are concerned, with each new rollout, I would expect, and I mean I can say for certainty that as these come out, you're going to see more and more advanced TSS systems roll out with these new vehicles. Some of them may have the latest and greatest that we know. Some may debut newer versions. And I would, be looking for enhancements to TSS, new, so to speak, TSS systems in the next, with the COVID thing, the timing of everything got shaken up. But 12 to 15 months, you're going to see enhancements and new TSS systems coming.
Thank you, Tom. And just one more question here. So does Toyota's competition offer standard safety suites on all their current models?
Steve, do you want to say anything about that? Because you did some research on Honda when we were talking the other day. Do you want to mention what you found about Honda?
Yeah, well, specifically our major competitors in our market here in the Northwest, including the markets, Seattle, our biggest market, Portland, and then the outlying markets in Alaska, Idaho, Montana. The biggest competitor we have obviously is Subaru, with the increase in market share and specific important segments like entry, sport utility, small and mid-sized sport utility. I do have some information on those that I took down. So, we can actually say across the board, except with the exception of our collaboration vehicles, which Tom had mentioned. I did some research. So specifically with Subaru, they have their technology, their facing technology from ours, which is called EyeSight. So EyeSight is standard on all 2020 Subaru vehicles, with the exception of 2020 Impreza, 2020 Crosstrek, and 2020 WRX. So that's significant there, because if you look at the Crosstreks, probably their highest volume, or between that and the Forester, highest volume vehicle in the lineup. So that's significant. So we'd share that with our customers. Also, Honda, which is our other biggest competitor, they offer Honda Sensing standard on all 2020 Hondas, with the exception of the 2020 Fit, which they offer Honda Sensing on the EX and EXL. So the upper end of the EX grades. And then the 2020 HRV, which is significant, it's only offered on EX and above. And then their Honda Odyssey, they offer Honda Sensing on EX and above as well. So there's several other grades that do not offer a safety suite specific to compete with Toyota Safety Sense. So that's significant information on the competition offering, equal to what Toyota offers with TSS P and 2.0.
Hey, Stevie, I'm going to chime in here real quick. To that point, I think if everybody saw the Engage Weekly, if you didn't, you might want to check it out. I think they had a section with an applicability chart linked to safety and TSS that might easily just line up across the board for everybody to see some of the advantages and certainly the vehicles that we're all standard on as opposed to the competition. I think that just came out today, maybe.
Yeah, good point, Ronnie. Edgar, do we see any other questions?
Nope, I think that's it for questions. Back to you,
All
Steve.
right. Well, I want thank you, Ronnie, and I'm going to follow up on your point. I want to thank Tom for being here. Appreciate
Absolutely.
your insight. I did want to point out to everyone our training resources that we don't talk about enough. And to Ronnie's point, the number one on the top of the list here is Engage. And you know, we've had Engage out for a few years, formerly eShowroom, and it is probably the number one go-to resource that you have as a sales consultant to get anything and everything Toyota. And as you can see on the top right there, it offers everything. And if you go across the top with the Engage app and all those Engage resources, goes through every one of our vehicles, talks about hybrids. There's a great section on safety. And I did want to follow up on what Ronnie was mentioning. There is an applicability chart. And if you go to the safety tab, and go to just below that, you'll bring up the applicability chart. But also you can go to the features section of safety and videos. There's some phenomenal videos on TSS that go into way more detail than we did today. So please go visit Engage either on your desktop or the Engage app, which every sales consultant should have up on their app to help answer customer questions. Also the Toyota app, both of those apps we can download from the Apple Store or get it on Google Play. Also, any of the assets that we've given you in the last few weeks in terms of video, walk-around video, and of course these short webinar trainings. We've been recording those and loading those on Dealer Daily on the COVID-19 section, also on Dealer Daily on our sales training page. I did want to update everybody on a few other things here in a minute. These are additional safety features that we don't talk about enough. I know we do talk about Toyota Safety Sense, but of course we have our Star Safety System. And we've had that on our vehicles going back 10 to 15 years. And that's basically our steering, braking, and stopping technologies. Also Safety Connect, which if you were with us a few weeks back, CJ talked about it on the Connected Services webinar. Standard Safety Connect, right? Includes automatic collision notification, emergency assistance, roadside assistance, and stolen vehicle locator. So those are additional safety features to our safety suite. And I'm very proud to announce this during this different time we're living, or our new normal. We got together as a group and we want to offer our dealer partners some additional resources and additional places to go to get everything Toyota product. So come check us out on our new Instagram page at #ToyotaPDXTraining. We'll be launching that here at the beginning of May. And also we will be loading assets to our new YouTube channel, which we're excited to talk about, at Toyota Portland Region Sales Training. We will be offering a new walk-around videos. We'll be dumping new product videos. We're going to start a feature of the week and additional product content. So look for that. We're really excited to continue to add value for our dealer partners, especially when we cannot get out to the store to see you guys. So with that, if there's any other questions, we saved them for last, but it's okay that we got those done. If there's any other questions, Edgar, do you see any other questions?
I think we're good, Stevie D.
All right, well, with that, it's 11:35. I want to thank all you dealers again for your efforts. We hope that for those of you who are not in the dealership or working currently, to get back in the dealership. For those of you in the dealership, anything you need from us, you know where the resources are. Give us a call, email us, get on Engage. I can't say that enough. It's a phenomenal resource that we have that all of us use every single day. So with that, I'd like to thank you for sitting here for the last half an hour, just reviewing our fantastic Toyota Safety Sense suite of products. And please be safe out there, and we look forward to getting in the dealership soon. So long, everybody.